Guys, welcome to the video. So today we've got something a little bit different. We are going to be traveling to Tennessee to go riding, so it's a perfect opportunity to pull the truck in, do some maintenance, check some things over, and make sure it's good to go for the trip. So here we go. All right, guys, so this will just be a couple tips and general maintenance on diesel trucks. So tell you a little backstory. I got this truck with 116,000 miles almost 3 years ago, and it's got 170,000 miles now, and it has been awesome to me. Usually I don't keep my trucks very long. Usually they only stick around about a year. I'll find something wrong with them or find a item that's going to go wrong with them, and I'll ship them off, get something new, without problems. But this truck has been super good to me. It hasn't cost me hardly any money. I've just done general maintenance to it. It has been an awesome truck. It drives excellent. It tows great. I really can't ask for anything more. I would kind of like to get like a 15 or a 20, like something a little bit more modern, but it's just so hard to even think about letting this one go with as good as it's been to me. Because I've had some trucks that have been a little bit not so good. So I just wanted to go over a couple tips to keep these trucks running good. So I go every 5,000 miles, I change the oil, and we're going to change oil today. I run a Wix filter 5720 2XP, and that I just keep this in my, I buy it off Amazon, and it's always in like, do you want to order again? So it's super easy to order. I feel like this is a good quality filter. It's like 13 bucks. I hit order, 2 days later I have it. So that's what I've been running since 116,000 miles. I run the same oil filter every time. I'm pretty close on that 5,000 mile oil changes. I don't really let it go too far. I run Mobil 1 Delvac 5W40 full synthetic oil. Can you go longer than 5,000 miles on this oil? Absolutely. But I mean, when I drive this truck, it's working. It's either towing a camper, it's towing a dump trailer, it's towing equipment. I mean, I've put like 56,000 miles on this or something like that, over 50,000. And I would say 80% of the miles, it's got a trailer behind it. So I like to go 5,000 miles. Also in the wintertime, diesel trucks idle a lot. I mean, at least here they do. It's cold. If I stop somewhere to go into a gas station or I don't know, if I'm only going inside somewhere to buddy's house or something, 5 minutes, I'll just let it run. Sometimes you even let it run 30 minutes. You forget about it. So a lot of idle time, dusty conditions, working the truck hard. Let's do 5,000 miles. Oil is cheap insurance, guys. I mean, don't skimp on oil. Buy what you can afford, of course, but put some good quality stuff in your truck. I feel like between 100,000 miles and 200,000 miles is your most important maintenance. That thread of miles. You can buy a truck with 100,000 miles and it was just maintain average. If you do a really poor job between 100 and 200,000 miles, at 200,000 miles, you'll know you did a pretty bad job. 180,000 miles, you'll know you did a pretty bad job because everything will start creeping up on you. And wear items will just take over and it'll just be nickel and diming you to death. But if you do a really good job between 100 and 200,000 miles, stay on top of your maintenance. There's no reason. Next thing you know, you've got 220 and it's like, man, I haven't done nothing to this truck besides just change oil and just brakes and ball joints and stuff like that. So we've got our oil down. I'm also going to change the transmission filter. This is just the spin-on Allison filter. By changing your transmission filter, I change it every 10,000 miles, every other oil change. It's like, I think it's $22 or something. They used to be a little bit more, but now they're like $22. It's not a necessity. The book says every 10,000 miles. I know a lot of people don't ever change theirs, but it's easy to just spin on, keep good, clean transmission fluid, clean the magnet, and that really makes a big difference when you're actually using the truck towing. If you've got good, clean fluid, your temps are not going to be near as high as if you've got dirty fluid, obviously. I mean, last time we were out on Labor Day, we were towing pretty heavy in the Kentucky hills. Like, we were on some 2-lane highway, up and down hills. I mean, the truck is working. I've got 16,000 pounds of wind sail camper behind me. I'm going up and down hills. I don't think the trans ever even got over 190, 192 degrees, and it's probably 80, 85 degrees. So they say 100 over ambient is what you should expect. But I feel like that's just regularly driving is what most guys are seeing there. This thing was working hard, and the trans never got hot. So I think that's a testament to keeping good, clean transmission fluid. Recently, I had to put a new trans cooler in this truck because a stick went through it. So that was after our Tennessee trip. So trans fluid looked good. I'm going to change that. All right, guys. So next thing we'll do is fuel filters. I change these every 10,000 miles as well. This truck's got a fast 150 lift pump on it. So I run cat filter. So if you've got a diesel truck with a fast 150 lift pump, cat 1R0750 works for the fuel filter. And the water separator is a cat 256-8753 water separator. So I know a lot of guys that run the fast lift pumps. They run white fast filters. And I've seen some stuff about those filters being questionable. But more than that is, since they're white, I don't know how often they're actually changing them. Because since they're white, you can see all the rust on them. A lot of times I'll see these filters all rusted, nasty, dented up. And I'm like, guys, are you ever changing these? I mean, everything, your fuel system is so important on these trucks. These fuel systems are so fine. They're so sensitive to dirt and stuff. I mean, change the fuel filters, guys. So along with fuel, I always run Hot Shots Secrets Everyday Diesel Treatment. It's a 6-in-1 fuel booster. I'm not really a snake oil kind of guy. I've been running this since 116,000 miles since I got the truck. I've been running this stuff. I'm not a snake oil type of guy, but these guys really know their product. Obviously, they know their product. They make it. They can explain to you how this product works, why other products don't work, and why this is some of the best stuff on the market. I'm not a scientist, so I can't explain it to you. But it says it increases fuel lubricity up to 26%, which I know that stuff does work. Lubricity is so important in today's diesel. Fuel systems fail a lot more in America, well, the States I should say, because our fuel is, there's a lot less oil in it to meet emissions. In Europe and other countries, their emissions aren't as strict. They have more oil in their fuel, provides more lubricity. It doesn't dry out their injectors and pumps. Stuff lasts longer. America, all we care about is emissions. Make the fuel as dry as possible, dry, unlubricated, less oil, cleaner burn, right? So this really adds up 26% lubricity. Sorry, I can't talk. Lubricity. So that's the main reason I run it. It says it cleans injectors to maintain efficiently and operability, whatever that means. Keeps your injectors running good. Mainly, it keeps it lubricated. It demulsifies water, whatever that means. It removes water. So if you're all over the place, you might get water in your fuel at some time, as far as maybe filling up from a bad station. You're running this stuff, it'll give you a little bit better peace of mind. Hey, if I get some water fuel, this will help me out. And then it stabilizes diesel for long-term storage, which I like because sometimes this truck will sit for a week or two. I don't daily drive this truck. So sometimes I'll fill it up and it'll sit for a week or two, provide storage. I run this in the tractor too. Most of the time I fill that thing up once a week or once every 2 weeks, but I could see maybe long term it's sitting. I don't know. I feel good about running this, and I feel like it makes a big difference. And whenever the time comes that my truck does need injectors or a pump, hopefully I send them off to Extra G or S&S, and they're like, wow, these are in such good shape for 250,000 miles. Did you run some sort of additive? I've heard of that happening. So that's why we run this. So we're going to go ahead and service the truck. Just a few things I wanted to add. Keep a good running truck. Something reliable. If you're using your truck every day, guys, and you're using it to tow, using it for work, campers, firewood, what have it might be, keep good filters on it. I like a good fuel additive. Like I said, I run that fuel additive. And then about every 10, 20,000 miles, I'll run the Hot Shots Diesel Extreme, and that's a fuel system cleaner. Maybe it doesn't work. Can't harm it though. And then obviously the winter anti-gel. I like that stuff too. Few things though. Belts, guys. When you're changing your oil and stuff, take a look under the hood. If your serpentine belt looks worn, just replace it. It's a lot easier to replace in your garage when you got everything opened up than it is on the side of the road. And people got to come help you, or your wife's mad at you or something. So take a look at things, replace it. Hoses, give them a squeeze. Are they hard? Do they still have flexibility? You know, once coolant hoses get hard, they tend to leak, or they swell, they leak, that kind of thing. Tires, you know, run a good quality tire. I mean, if it's just your beater, sure, run some Ling Longs, whatever gets you by. If you're dependent on your truck, run a good quality tire. Run a BF Goodrich, a Firestone, Toyo, Nitto. Like, put some quality tires on there and make sure they're rated for what you're using. If you're towing with your truck all the time and you've got a 2018 Ford, it probably requires like a 126 load index or something. Put a 126 load index on there, guys. The truck's made to haul. It weighs a lot. Put a good tire on there. Don't put some 110, 114 load index tire on there just because it's low pro and it looks cool and it looks cheap. Or it is cheap. Because sometime it will blow out on you and it'll cost you a lot more money than if you just bought good tires, and it'll be a headache. So buy some good tires. Coolant, if you got a truck, you've owned it for 10 years, you say you never change the coolant or anything, you might dump the coolant out, put some fresh coolant in there. Prevents cavitation, keeps everything nice and clean, rust free, running good. So fresh coolant. You know, winter's coming, so now's a good time to find out if your thermostat's working. I know a lot of the newer trucks, it'll tell you if it's working or not, because if it never gets up to operating temperature, or it does get to operating temperature and then it just falls off real quick, it'll give you like a low thermostat performance code or something like that. So make sure your thermostats are working. It's really easy on most vehicles to pop a new one in there. And thermostats are important. If your truck never gets to operating a temperature, it's not going to run in its most efficient manner. You know, trucks are designed, engines are designed to run at, say, 180 degrees. If it's only running at 130 because you've got stuck thermostats open and it's, you know, 20 degrees and you're just blowing cold air in there, it's never going to warm up. You're never going to get your most efficient burn. Cost you more fuel, possibly do damage to your engine. So just a few things there. So let's get servicing this thing, and I'll show you how it's done. If you made it this far in the video, thanks for watching. Again, these are all just opinions, but I feel like I do a pretty good job of keeping my truck up and keeping things fresh. So, all right, guys, we are under the truck, and my oil pan has been sitting out in the rain, so it's going to be pretty nasty looking, but that's okay. So I always like to put these quick drains, as you can see right here. I like to put them on. I don't like spinning that off. If I'm going to own a vehicle a long time, I add that because that's how easy it is and there's no mess. So we'll get that draining, and I'll pull this filter off and we'll change it too. All right, so the oil is finishing up draining. We're going to change this trans filter, wipe it down. Man, kind of tight under here. Ooh, sounds like somebody's here. Or it's neighbors. So this filter will have a magnet in the top of it. Magnet. Drop your filter in your oil thing. Inspect your magnet. She's pretty clean. A little bit of residue on there. You can brake clean your magnet off or just wipe it off. I'm just going to wipe mine off because it's actually really clean. Here's the magnet and the filter. Throw your new magnet on there. Halfway centered up. and slap the new filter on. I know there is a filter inside the pan, and I think that one's recommended every 50 or 100,000 miles. I mean, even if you don't get to that and changing the fluid, this is still so easy. It's a good thing to do, to just change this. So don't skimp on your filters, guys, especially if they're easy. The filters, aside from the actual oil, the filters are the life of your truck. Bad filters. Alright guys, so while the oil's draining, we're going to change these fuel filters here. The fuel filter under the hood, it's got a delete on it, so we're just using these filters, which I kind of like. I know that one's kind of a pain to change, so these ones are nice. As long as you keep up on changing them. So, we'll get these changed here. Let that drain. Alright guys, so we got the new filters on. They're nice and snug on there. If you need cat filters for your fast fuel system, I think you can order them online or just go to your local cat. Also, while it's in here, I want to get the tires rotated, so got it up and gonna swap these out too. Also, whenever I change or rotate tires, take the load nuts off, I like to add some anti-seize when it's going back on. You get a lot of moisture in there. If you live in the salt states, you get that rust. Sometimes it'll come off hard, so add some anti-seize as a little extra protection. Oil's still draining. Open the hood up after you change that trans filter. Check your trans fluid. I always just add a little bit because you do lose some in the filter. So add a little bit of that. Check coolant. Coolant's good. Open your air filter, guys. Check it out. I usually like to replace mine once a year. I only use paper filters. I don't like any oil filters, especially on Duramaxes, because they have the mass airflow sensor. If you suck any of that oil through there, it'll make it dirty. It'll run like crap. So Duramax wise, only paper air filter. I like stock intake. If you want to put an intake on there, I know the S&B uses a paper filter. I like it. So paper air filters are cheap. They're easy to throw in there. Did that. I think that's it. Everything else looks good. All right, guys. So that'll do it for this video. Like I said, just all my opinion on this kind of stuff. To each his own. It works for me. If it doesn't work for you or something else works for you, do that. That's all the tips I got for today. Obviously, filled it back full of oil, 10 quarts, and checked oil level, trans level, checked everything under the hood. Everything looks good. So, knock on wood, should provide me with some more miles and some more trouble-free miles. So that's it, guys. If you made it this far in the video, think about subscribing. You like these kind of videos? You like tractors, log splitters, trucks, chainsaws? It's what we do around here. So give me a subscribe because I really need the subscribers. Need them. Thanks for watching.